Quality Living with Peaceful Support on the KCIW radio station. Yes, radio is alive and it is going strong. And we are here for you, listeners. I'm Amanda Whittemore on the Quality Living with Peaceful Support show. Please give us a call. Your cell phones, they work. That is a telephone, not just text, but you can call us. 541-661-4098. It's really a lost art. It's a lost form. Speaking, a lot of us text. And the best part, me, I'm one to speak because literally I do voice to text all the time.
Oh.
And then I think to myself, why don't I just pick up the phone and call that person? Because I'm already talking to my cell phone. Anyways, as I'm speaking with the listeners, we thank you so much for your loyalty and your devotion and tuning into the Quality Living with Peaceful Support program. Here with Quality Living, we talk about exactly that. Ways to encourage quality living. What is it? What does it signify to each of us? And we're almost at show 70, and we have not had a repeat answer, and we're going to keep going. Wow. And so we have a recognition and a thank you for the women in business and all that they do for supporting the businesses in the Coos, Curry, and Douglas County. And also, I really want to thank Seaview right now for all that they do. Every single member, every family participant, and especially the medical team and the security and the staff at Seaview here in Brookings, Oregon, because it is a special place. And thank you to Hospice for all the work that they do with ensuring that those that are passing get to do it peacefully as an end-of-life doula. That is a unique gift that has been brought upon us to support the family in the transition and have it be as peaceful as possible, which is pretty much where Quality Living with Peaceful Support came from, is this work. And there's so much more to that. And as you've heard, please, if you have not, please do go back through the website of kciw.org. There's a catalog, there's podcasts, because we're, this day and age, we're all on the computer, and we can subscribe and listen everywhere and anywhere globally, kciw.org. And there's other shows with doctors, architects, crystal gem workers, healers, all the things. Today, though, listeners, we have a very, very special guest in the studio. Believe it or not, we have the author, Joanie Lindenmeyer. Hey, Joanie.
Hey, Amanda.
Yahoo!
Good to see you. Glad I'm here.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it.
Quite a journey.
Yes.
Oh.
We're off and running.
Yeah, absolutely. Joanie is the author of Healing Religious Hurts. And listeners, please do call in or email contact@kciw.org to ask questions, speak about it, tell us what you think, because this is a joyously free stories and tips to live your truth as LGBTQ. Did I say that right, Joanie?
That's right.
Okay, yeah. People, parents, and allies. And this is something to learn about. Tell us about it.
Okay. Well, those are my latest 2 books.
Okay.
I've written 3 books in 2 years, if you can imagine that. And prior to that, I was not a reader and I was not a writer. And lo and behold, through the serendipities of life, I am now a published best-selling author. My first book, Nun Better, became an Amazon ebook bestseller number 24, just months after I had published it. Well, because of that Nun Better, my life with Carol Tierheimer, and the phenomenalness of that book, went on book tour, and everywhere I went, there were questions about living your truth, being LGBTQ+, healing religious hurts, all the complaints and the sorrows that people had been through many different denominations or spiritualities, and just the struggles. And so that's where these 2 books came from. You just said it. Healing Religious Hurts, How to Find Love and Peace, and then Joyously Free, the stories and tips for living your truth as people, parents, and allies. And so they are available. If you're local here in town, Mark has them. at Forecastle Books. It's at the library. It's in Crescent City at Del Norte office. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, my publisher's website, twosisterswriting.com. It is literally out there. Get it? It is literally out there. And that's the way I am, too. I am literally out there.
Beautiful. And yes, that's how we do it. We get the word out here on Quality
Get
Living.
the word out. Put the smiles out there. Wear the bright colors. Absolutely.
And I'm going to believe that there's some listeners who are asking, what is LGBTQ?
Great question. Great question. Well, the initials stand for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and then you have the Q for questioning or queer. And then you have the plus, which then can include intersex, which is I, A for asexual, and then 2S for two-spirit, which is a Native American combination of bisexuality as well as two-spirit. And so, yes, there's initials that happen, but more than important than the initials, they're people.
Yeah.
They're real people that have found or in the process of finding who their sexual identity is. Mm-hmm. You know, are they straight? Are they gay? Are they bi? And for many people, that takes a lifetime to figure that process out. Mm-hmm. Many people, like my sweetie Carol, didn't want a label, didn't want any label, just wanted to be Carol.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I can relate. I feel like that about religion in general, honestly. As I love everything I've studied, every church I've gone to, I've practiced all the things.
Okay.
I feel exactly like that about religion. I'll go to all the temples, speak Hebrew to Buddhism, like all of it.
Awesome.
But I don't, like Carol, I don't want the label. I want to be Amanda.
Right. Right.
So I can relate. I hope listeners can relate to all of this too. Tell us more about you.
And I think a big part of that is that you don't want to judge somebody if they have a label or if they don't have a label.
That's their choice.
That's their choice. And that's why it's so important in the LGBTQ community to think about pronouns. People say, well, should I be saying he or she or they or them or her? And for many people on the LGBTQ spectrum, that is super important because they have worked so hard in their life to determine who they are, and they want to be addressed respectfully.
Correct.
In that correct pronoun. So a lot of what I'm finding is a lot of straight people really have a hard time with that because they just want the old-fashioned English version of he is he and she is she, and don't mess up the English grammar. You know, but it's bigger than that. It's about the person.
It is. And there's a lot of multi-language speaking people who speak 5 or 10 more languages than, and I love everyone who only speaks English. However, it's kind of like that. I can relate again because there's a lot of people who speak multiple languages and those who speak one language, and sometimes we get the conjugation incorrect of he or she, and we say him when we're talking about the girl dog. And, you know, the person who speaks one language is getting upset because we didn't conjugate properly, but it's because they speak 5 languages. Like,
correct.
They're so intelligent.
Oh, that is such a good point. That is so well said. I think we should quote you on that one. That is really, really good. But, you know, and it ties in with your talk, your theme, quality living. Because for people that are living their truth, that is the quality. What does that mean to you? And for me, that quality living is passion. It's health. It's spiritual. It's not just being a human being. It's being a spiritual being. You know, and I don't say doing. We're not humans that are doing things. We're human beings. We're spiritual beings.
We are.
And then our actions will go forth from our internal convictions. That's what happens when you're in quality living.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe you've addressed that in one of your 70 episodes. I don't know. But
no, that is beautiful. And so that would be your explanation or your sensation of what quality is to you.
Yes. Yes. And it doesn't go by a timeline. You know, a lot of people have deaths that have happened in their life. Friends, spouses, whomever. And Carol passed away 2.5 years ago. And I learned so much from that process of her having that stroke, being paralyzed on that left side. And what was really important, it was the little things in life, like the breathing, like the sunshine, the taste of a food, you know. And so when crises happen in a person's life, that's when you can then whip out the thankfulness and the gratitude that can come from deep within to make your life more quality enhanced.
Oh, absolutely. That's so well said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so back to the end of life, a lot of people, they fear death or they fear what's going to happen because of that. But we're all going to die at some point in time.
100%. Well, the body dies.
The body dies. Exactly. And the soul lives on is my belief. That soul lives on. Yes.
We are so full. And that is where the book kind of came from, was when she passed, all this came up for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wrote Nun Better within that grief period of my life, and my heart and my guts and the vulnerability and the rawness of who I am, who we were, just came out in that book. And just like we're talking right now is what it sounds like. And in fact, the audiobook will be soon coming out. Ooh. It looks like the first part of January. We'll have the audiobook of Nun Better available on Amazon. It'll be an Audible. So all of the people out there that you'd rather hear versus turn the pages or flip the screen, the audiobook is coming. So that means really 4 books in 2 years. Oh, my gosh. And people say to me, Joanie, what is that like? I said, well, put a World Series together and a Super Bowl together, and that's what it is.
And win.
And win. Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
winning.
And you know what the letters WIN stand for? What's important now?
Oh.
That was a John Wooden basketball coach for UCLA. That was his famous, what do you call it? Quote.
Yeah, his
What's
line.
important now? And does that have to do with quality living?
Oh, yeah. For me, oh, yeah. Because, like, the power of now, I work a lot with the power of now. It's a lot of things have happened eternally, and they always will, but then, like, being present.
Right. And isn't that such a challenge for many of us to actually be in a conversation with somebody, listening to what they're saying, looking them in the eyeball, and not thinking of what I should be doing or what I could be doing or thinking about somebody else, but being in the moment with somebody. And I think that's what's so precious about what has happened in these books. Everywhere I have gone, the stories that people have told me because I'm connecting eyeball to eyeball with them, heart to heart.
And you incorporate multiple stories within your story.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Multiple people. So if you're talking about contributing writers,
right.
Yes.
Yes.
So in Healing Religious Hurts, 17 people have voiced and written their heart of hearts. And so we have atheist, agnostic, a person talking about being Jewish, marrying a Catholic, going through an annulment after a divorce. I mean, we have
Sounds like my uncle.
all the different denominations. I think there's Hindu, there's Buddhist, there's Christian, and we all have had struggles or questions or concerns of how we can become closer to a higher power or to creation or to a God, or my person just happens to be Jesus. Carol was all about the Holy Spirit.
Oh,
and so,
interesting.
Yes. And so it all fits together because those contributing writers have voiced their perspective. And then if you look at Joyously Free, 32 writers. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. So 32 people wrote, and that includes my sister, my nephew, and then I have friends that have worked at Del Norte High School where I retired from. They're
You
in
worked
the
at
book.
Del Norte High School?
I worked at Del Norte
Did
High.
you hear that, listeners?
Yeah, 25 years. How many of you did I have in my PE class or my health class?
Yeah.
Call in. Let me know.
541-661-4098.
You bet. I retired in 2018, and I loved every minute. And I can remember, if you call in, I will probably be able to put your face with your name, and I can see you either in the health class or running up and down the gym or around the track. So please call in.
Nice. Yes.
And you're in the book probably because I talk about Del Norte High School. I talk about a locker room hate thing that happened that probably most of you are not aware of what happened when they wrote some real derogatory information on the walls in the girls' locker room, and I made sure that was painted over before the girls came into the locker room. But it's a great story in the book, and it was a hate crime. but it was not pursued because we didn't know where to go from there.
And which book is that in?
Joyously Free.
Okay.
Joyously Free.
Beautiful. And I feel like this literally, listeners, I know we always say this is for everyone, but I really feel this is for everyone. And I think it will, especially if maybe you have somebody in your family or you yourself, if there's anything that you've ever had judgment or contemplated about, this might be some insight.
Yep. Absolutely. The Healing Religious Hurts book. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and the Joyously Free too.
What?
And the Joyously Free, I'm finding parents and grandparents are the ones purchasing that, really reading it to help them learn about LGBTQ. And many of them have said, oh, this has helped me so much. I have a grandson that came out as bisexual and I didn't understand it. And I have a daughter that is transitioning and wants to go on HRT, hormone replacement therapy. And so there's just so many conversations for parents and grandparents to have the knowledge, have the information, have the clarification of what good questions and how to continue to love. That's the key. That's the key. Continue to love your sons, your daughters, whoever they claim to be. Just love them, love them, love them.
Yes, we do. And we are here on the Quality Living program with Peaceful Support, talking with author Joanie Lindenmeyer, the author of 3, almost 4 books, audibly and in print and on Amazon and all the things. And tell us more, Joanie.
Okay. Let's see. Let me read a little bit. Can I do that?
Yeah,
Can I do that?
Absolutely.
So I'm in the Joyously Free book, and I'm on chapter 7, and it's called I Do, and it's about gay marriage.
Okay.
And the reason I talk about this, I wanted to read this one today, is I was Catholic. I was a former nun. Carol was a nun for 32 years, me for 5. And one of the things, when we fell in love, we wanted to be married sacramentally in the Catholic Church.
Oh.
Well, that's a no-go. That's a no-go. They do not accept or celebrate same-sex couples, let alone same-sex marriages. And so we petitioned popes and deacons and priests to marry us. That was to no avail. But we met Father Bernie at St. Timothy's Episcopal Church, and we called him up and said, would you marry us, Bernie? And he said, absolutely. How about Wednesday? And this was on a Friday, so lo and behold, we had to take care of everything, go up to Gold Beach, get the marriage license and everything. And then because it was in the middle of COVID, of course, we had to have it in our home, which was beautiful. It turned into a foggy August 5th, 2020. But anyways, so what I'm going to read today is about gay marriage.
Impressive.
And so I guess, listeners, what I want to ask you right now is, if you are LGBTQ, are you married? Would you want to be married? What does marriage mean to you? Because it can mean so many different things to so many different people. For those of you that are straight, how do you feel about queer marriage? How do you really feel? Do you think that's a sign of commitment? Do you believe that that's really love? Do you think that's God ordained, God orchestrated? Because in my life, I know that I joined the convent to meet Carol, who then became my lover and spouse for 40 years. And that monogamy was phenomenal. In the LGBTQ world, I'm known as golden. I don't know if you know what that means.
Nope.
Golden means I have never been intimately or sexually with a man. And so I am golden. Carol was the same thing.
Interesting.
And then if you are a gay man and you've never been with a woman,
right,
then you are called platinum.
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 It's kind of like vegan. Like if you've never... You've never eaten the animal.
I love it. I get
it.
You get it. Okay, so let me just read this to you because I think it's going to trigger conversation in your own families, and it's Christmas time. So when you're together and you're celebrating, you're hanging out with each other, throw out a question. What do you think about gay marriage?
Right, and Valentine's up on the verge.
Yes. Oh, boy, now we're talking. Woohoo. Okay, so it says gay marriage. You are a match made in heaven. This is by Joanie, page 223 if you're following along in Joyously Free. Are you married, Joanie? Came the question for the umpteenth time. Before I could respond, the second question always comes quickly. Do you have kids? Oh, how judgmental, I thought, as my face probably turned bright red with discomfort, fear, and shame that no one understood the true me. I did my best to keep a poker face, a gay one, not blow up and show my anger and disgust. I touched my short, sporty, natural blonde hairstyle, thinking, they just don't see the real me. a lesbian woman who was secretly partnered and living with the love of my life, who is a woman. While growing up and becoming an adult, I was adamant that I do not want to date or even marry a man. I don't need or want to have a boyfriend to look good in front of others, for their lofty sexist opinion or my acceptance into society. For Christmas parties and dinner dates with my straight friends, I have no desire to show up with a male escort. Yet, I was at a loss for words, as their simple questions deflated my confidence. Personally, it felt like, oh golly, how am I going to wiggle my way out of this one? Because I don't have the strength yet to tell my whole truth. Plus, I need to respect Carol. She was still a nun. We did not want our reputation of kindness and joy to be tainted. God was calling us to do something really, really big as a couple. But when and how, dear Lord, should I do this? And I'm not going to continue on. But and so part of this chapter then is talking about how we did that. Mm-hmm. How did we stay joyful in the midst of society's pressures for us that we really didn't confine to the society? Because as two wonderfully beautiful women in love with each other, society didn't know about that. It was much more of a heterosexual world, especially back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your comments from that little reading?
I mean, I'd look at that abroad as far as everyone can sense how that feels to not be recognized, especially being myself. Like, everyone asks me the same thing. You know, I've never had children. I've never been married. But I'm very so comfortable with my man. And I don't even tell people about him because it has nothing to do with anything other than I wish to cherish it and keep it sacred, as you guys did.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's so invasive when people want to hear and learn about those things and they forget about the million hours of volunteer work we do, or the this and that and all the other God-gifted, I say God because I love spirit, and that's what comes out of my mouth sometimes.
I love it. I love it.
So I just feel that to be able to have that super, almost like the silver lining, the invisible line of your life and the public life, and it's just, I can relate.
You completely. Can relate. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See, and it's not an LGBTQ or a straight issue, is it?
It isn't. It has nothing to do with that. None at all. It's about respecting the public and respecting my personal life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And to have quality of life, do you have to have your own sons and daughters? Do you need to procreate? Do you have to have a kid in your life to be a fulfilled, quality living person?
I want to tell you, I hope we have enough time. This just came to me.
Okay.
Because
go for it.
As an evolutionary, like some people don't believe in evolution, and I'm an evolutionarist. I'm a momentarian. And when I was younger, as much as I knew I love being with my guys, I've learned about all these things. And what came to me was God said, Amanda, you know why people are loving each other of the same sex? And I said, why? I talk to God all the time.
Oh, good.
I have the spirit.
Me too. Give me a high five on that.
Yeah.
Give me a high five.
I see through the veils. I hear through them. Hence the end of life doula work.
We're kindred souls.
Yes.
We're kindred souls, Amanda.
Yes. And so he says to me, Amanda, the world cannot handle any more humans.
Oh.
However, the world needs love.
Oh.
And so there's no reason for procreation. And this is going to go in and out of phases throughout time, just like it does on every being, whether it's the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, whatever kingdom God, the Creator, has given us.
Right.
It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that evolution has shown that is part of
interesting.
Creation.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And it comes down to love.
To love.
It comes down to love.
And to feeling good, and that just having that quality of life and feeling appreciated and honored and respected and all those things.
Yes. Yes. And that's just like my tattoo. Did I show you my tattoo?
No. It says...
Here I am at age 67, and I wanted to...
always wins. Yeah.
always wins. You know, sometimes you read in the
music
Bible that says
signs.
love never fails. I'm too positive for that.
I hear that.
Even my blood type is B positive, get it? So
Yeah,
I'm always
A
B
positive. I get it.
So love always wins. And I have my 3 books here. So this one is a representative of the colors that are on the cover of Joyously Free. It's all these multi-bursts of colors.
Right.
The musical note in turquoise represents, I believe, music is such a healing.
It is.
So whether it's drumming or it's humming or it's singing or whatever the musical instrument or voice might be. And then the rose garden has to do with the memorial garden for Carol, where there are 55 plants planted and they bloom from June through September. And the last chapter of the book. You can't jump forward in the end of the book. Okay, and Nun Better, you got to read it all the way through. The other 2 books, you can definitely jump around.
Okay.
But anyway, the
right.
rose garden is part of that one. But you're right. Love is what it's about. Love, not hate. You know, and I'm assuming on your show that listeners know that they cannot call in and do hate speech. They cannot do hate behaviors. And of course, they can't do bullying on the radio. And if we got rid of all that and replaced it with kindness and love, that's quality living, Amanda.
It truly is, with peaceful support. And that's a huge part of it, is like, how do we create peaceful support? And I literally, like, we have boundaries and we have a lot of energetic fields. And I've invited a gentleman. This is really beautiful. He was at a place in time where he's like, well, I don't know if you really want me on your show because I'm going to talk about all this nasty, hateful and I was like, you know what? Bring it on, brother. I was like, get in here. Get to the microphone. I want to hear it. I want you to tell me how that fuels you, how you feel that's quality to you. I want you to tell me. It took about a year. He finally came in, and all the gushy love stuff was all that would come out of him.
Good. You know, and if you're sitting out there right now, whether you're in that hateful world or you're in that kindness world, either way, hey, order my books. Get the books.
Yeah.
Read the books. Yeah. Hear the books. They will touch your heart. You will have an impact. So again, it's library or Forecastle Books with Mark.
Yes.
Or Del Norte, Debbie Stover.
And Amazon.
Or Barnes & Noble. Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok. And you can contact the studio and get a hold of me.
Exactly. Contact at kciw.org. And there's twosisterswriting.com.
Yes. Yeah, my great publishers. I didn't even talk about them today. Oh, couldn't have done it without them.
Love it. Love it. And we're speaking with Joanie Lindenmeyer, the author of multiple books, Healing Religious Hurts, Nun Better, Joyously Free. Thank you, Joanie, so much for being here with us.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. And I thank you immensely, Amanda. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, listeners.